Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ilyssa, and if you are new here, my channel is all about a lot of stuff. About travel, about life, about navigating through murky waters, if you will. And today I want to talk about just that. So, I wrote a blog post about this a little bit ago, and I wanted to make a video on this topic because I think a lot of you out there could relate. It's all about 5 signs you will live an unconventional life. Number 1. Okay, let me get comfortable. Number 1, you move a lot. So, let me be clear. You don't necessarily have to be like a gypsy or living out of a van if that's not your thing to move. Even though I'm kind of looking into the van life, I think it's really cool, but that's aside from the point. What I mean by you move a lot is that you don't like to be stagnant. You don't like to just coast and just kind of exist. You like to try new things. You're not satisfied with just mediocrity, and it kind of makes your butt itch when people are. Number 2, you bore easily. So this I'm super guilty of. I'm guilty of all of these, but this is one in particular that I really try to be conscious of because I don't want to offend people. But it's hard for you to like stay on top of all of the different media, news, and celebrity gossip, and I don't know, like, I mean, you might not even know who some of the popular singers are nowadays or whatever, and you might just be 24 and you still don't know what's going on because you're doing other things. Typical things that hold a lot of people's interest don't capture yours. And that's a good thing. That means that you kind of have a more evolved kind of taste, a specific palate. And yeah, but what happens is when you bore easily, it can be kind of difficult to be in certain social situations because it's like you feel like you're being mean, or that you might just be like a rude person, or that you're not paying attention or something. But when you start to pay attention, you're like, wow, we're still talking about this, like, or just, it's amazing. You'll find how so many people speak so confidently out of ignorance, and it can be a challenge. So number 2, you bore easily. Number 3, this one is pretty vital, I think. And that is that you have a lot of really useful skills that are unrelated. So, like, for example, you might speak a second language, or be really good with Photoshop, or know how to mold with clay or something like that, but it's not something where someone could look at all of your skills and be like, oh, you'd be perfect for this. And some people that are more conventional might look at your skills and think like, well, that's a waste. Why do you have all of these certain skills? And that's not going to get you a finance job. No offense to finance people, but it's true. And the crappy part is that can make you feel kind of like worthless. It can make you feel like you wasted your time on the things that you like. And my friend, that is not what you did. It is not a waste of time to do the things that you like to do. Be clear on that. But yeah, like, if you think about it, you know, Leonardo da Vinci had a lot of skills that were unrelated, and he's one of the most famous people that ever existed. One of the most influential people ever. You guys, I'm trying to get through these videos dealing with all the noise in the background, so just stick with me. Like, there are motorcycles around where I live right now, so just it adds to the charm. But yeah, you might have a lot of unrelated skills that are useful but don't fit into one box. Just acknowledge that that's a good thing, that you're on your path. You'll figure it out. Number 4 is that you have ideas. You have innovation. You think about new ways of doing things. You challenge the way things have always been done. You don't like the phrase, that's how it's always been. It drives you crazy. And you don't try to. You don't try to, to belittle what's already put in place, but how your mind works, you just think like, oh, well, what about this? Or I have this idea, why don't we try that? And a lot of times that will surprise people around you. And you might have been called creative or unique or whatever, just because you have a lot going on up here, and then out here it just spills out. And people either love that about you or they hate that about you. But either way, that's not really your business. So, and 5, the fifth sign, this noise, the fifth sign that you will live an unconventional life is that you are still childlike. You're like a child. And again, this is not a bad thing. This is something that is so important that so many people lose touch with. And you should be grateful that you still have this within you. You still laugh at silly things, or can laugh at yourself, or, be pleased with not much, or turn something, what am I trying to say? Have something small and turn it into something glorious that people wouldn't think about. Going back to the having ideas point, but you kind of have a wonder about you, an imagination about you, an innocence about you, and that's how you approach people and situations. You're curious about things, and you're not jaded. You haven't let life and the years that you've accumulated stifle your curiosity towards people and places and things. You often, I don't want to say look down on, but you don't really listen to people that say, oh, well, people like that are like this or whatever, or like kind of enforce their prejudices on you. You don't quite understand why they're there, and you never have, and you probably never will. And a lot of the time, people will mock you for being childlike and tell you to grow up or whatever. And to be clear, being childlike doesn't mean that you're irresponsible. That's something totally different. It's just your attitude and approach toward life in general is what I'm talking about. And a lot of people, or a handful of people, might mock you for that or get on your case about that. And what I've found is that the people that do have kind of an untapped child in them, like they kind of suppress the child in them, and it's hard to see somebody else allowing their child to play, and whenever that happens, if someone makes you feel bad for being the way you are, approach it with compassion, and they're probably hurting. The people that are the most harsh are probably the ones that need the most love. So if ever anyone says, act your age or grow up, or, that's unrealistic or whatever, just know that they have accepted something that isn't true. They've how do you say? They've prohibited themselves from exploring because they were told that they had to. They were told that they had to, you know, put on a tie and carry a briefcase immediately. And you know, just let it go in through one ear and out the other, you know, like it's not your concern. But yeah, so those are the 5 things that, or 5 signs that you will probably live an unconventional life, or you already are living an unconventional life. And yeah, an unconventional, that word is so subjective, right? Because something that could be unconventional in America can be totally conventional in another country, or vice versa. So, but I guess the message is to just allow yourself to live however it is you see fit. And if it makes you feel good, there's a reason it makes you feel good. So don't get rid of that. And yeah, so if you like this video, then like the video. If you want to follow me on social media, that'll be linked somewhere. And if you want to see more videos on life in general, travel, lifestyle, all that fun stuff, subscribe. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.